If you are like me, you may be loving the new horizontal slatted fences. I am obsessed with that look. If you've been loving that look and you have found it to be a little expensive, I can't wait to show you what I have recently done for our garden. Check this out. Okay, don't mind my hands here, but we've got golden pecan right here on this one. Okay, golden pecan. I think it's about bad. I think it's bad though, so I think I need more golden pecan. This one is the golden mahogany. So golden pecan, golden mahogany, and that darker one is the Jacobian. My goodness, I think all my stains are getting bad. So once again, this one is golden pecan. As it gets darker over here, that's the summer oak. You can't really tell a difference, but I think that's because they're bad. They're super thin. Stirring them up, it's bad. So I'm about to try driftwood and see how it does. It seems to be in better shape. Okay, so here's the driftwood from about right here to there. I did driftwood. The golden pecan and the summer oak are in really bad shape, so I don't even think that's what they would look like. So I think we're down to golden mahogany, which is this one, or driftwood, which is this one. So basically this one, or should I alternate it? Or should I just go buy more of those? What do you guys think? Okay, so I measured up there. I had a 1-inch gap. Down here, I've got a 3-inch gap. This measures just over 4 inches between this and, you know, another slat turned sideways. So, for the spacer, that is. So anyway, I just measured it out from about the base. And if I do, it would put my 9th one to be about right here. So all I'm gonna have to do is just move this one down once I get up there. And the reason why I'm starting from the bottom is so that I can use the level going all the way up. If I were to work my way down, I can't fit the level on there. So I have to have space above to fit the level, of course. Okay, so we have our bottom slat clamped on so that I can screw that in. Now I just want to point out that it is still important to do this one first. Number one, so that you can put on your caps if you're going to have some and measure from the top. Even if you don't have caps, you want to know how much space you're going to have so that it doesn't come out wonky and uneven by the time you get to the top. So you do want to do this first. The second reason is because this is not exactly straight. It wants to lean out no matter what. So up at the top, once you secure those together, you're kind of pulling it in to secure them together. So that is why down here, this board is going to be just a little long, and that's okay. I'm going to get them all clamped on, and then we'll just either use the saw and just go straight down and trim them up, or we'll just take them off and trim up those edges. We'll see when we get done exactly how much there is to trim up. Another thing to point out is if you're using this type of clamp, you have to make sure to go as far over to the edge as you can so that you've got space for your screws. This is really difficult to do with just one person, especially when you're trying to hold a camera at the same time, but it can be done. This first one down here is going to be the hardest, and then it should get easier from there. So of course we have to start at this side so that we can make sure, can you see that it is completely flush. I got that real tight on there, and of course as you do that, you're pulling these together to make sure that they're nice and snug. And then the level, I've already checked, but I'm going to show you. It is perfectly level there. Now, if you are brand new to doing anything like this, I just want to point out that you want to make sure that your level is centered on whatever you're doing. You can't like have it hanging way off over here and not hanging off over here and think that it's going to show level. I mean, this one does because it is level, but if it was unlevel, that still will sometimes mess with it if you're not balanced. So you want to make sure that you're centered. So see, I just have a little bit hanging over there. So I make sure that I just have a little bit hanging over here. So anyway, we're going to screw this one in and then move on to the next one. And it should go much faster from this point on. And we're going to do this whole side, and then we'll go back and do that side. And you do want to make sure that you check that it's level after each board that you've screwed on. Okay, another thing to point out is that you may be tempted to just use one screw in each board, or one screw on each side, I should say. But because this is outside, even though it's treated, it will warp. And so I could just tell when I tried to use one, I could tell that it was gonna start looking pretty funky a lot faster if I didn't have it secured in two places on each end. So that is why we're doing the two. Okay, now this part you're going to want to pay close attention to. I go over a lot of details so that you can make sure you have everything perfectly lined up, because if you are OCD like I am, it will certainly bother you if it isn't perfectly straight. I also want to apologize. It was a very cold and windy day when I was recording this, so I will make sure the captions are updated if you have any issues hearing what I'm saying. Okay, now here, since I'm by myself, it's best to get this clamp as tight as you can. And remember, you've got to line it up with that line that I just drew. And then you've got to make sure you don't clamp it in the center, like as tight on here as you can, because then you can't get your screws in. So got that one. I didn't draw my line down here yet, so. If you would prefer to read these instructions, I will also post a very detailed article on our website. So feel free to check that out. I'll include a link to the blog post in the description. Also, if you have two drills or an impact driver or something, that's a good thing so that you don't have to keep changing these drill bits out. You need to start with this end because I need to make sure that it's flush. Please. Now on this left side, I'm only clamping it just semi so that I can make sure it's level, and then I'll tighten it down once I know for sure. Okay, so do you see how perfectly spaced those are? I know all of the leveling and repositioning that I'm doing, it seems like overkill probably to some people, but I will be in this area a lot, and if it's not done correctly, it will bother me. So we are going to do it right. Plus, it's not a budget project if we have to do it over, right? So anyway, those ends, of course, are going to be trimmed up later. So now I'm going to go ahead and get my clamps and go ahead and clamp the next two pieces before I do any drilling. So give me just a moment. Okay, we're making progress now. I got those two clamped on both ends. We're level. So now let's drill our pilot holes. Okay, a couple things to note. If you're doing this by yourself, I suggest that you have more than one kneeling pad, especially if you are in an ant mound like I am. So that's one thing. Another thing is don't clamp two at a time. It just dawned on me that even though I did check it with the level before I clamped it, it really bugs me that I can't check this one with the level before I screw it in. I like to check it both times just to be safe. It does look straight, so I'm going to take my chances, but I really don't like that, so I'm not going to do two at a time anymore. That way I can make sure it stays straight. Because if I get one off way down here and then they continue to be off all the way up, then that's a whole lot of extra holes I've got to put in this 4x4 that I don't want to put in here. So we'll just see how this works out. Look at this beautiful thing. Just gotta clamp that last piece on real quick. Wow, and we still have to do this side too, but for this first side, just gotta clamp it up real fast. Okay, now we've finished the first side, and as you can see, you can save a little bit of money and time if you don't make it quite as tall, because we do have several inches above the unit still available, but the reason why I went that tall is to hide the electrical box, and because sometimes we have a little bit of clutter back there, and I wanted to be able to hide that when I'm shooting videos in the garden. And then down here, I'm going to finish this off with a graveled in area so that I can put potted plants around the unit. And it's going to be open on this back side so that we still have access to the AC unit if we need it. And there's the old white vinyl privacy screen that we took down. I think this is a much better look as you're walking through the garden. What do you guys think? And of course, we still have to even up some of those boards. We will get that done and then show after shots. And here we are a couple days later. After I had finished the other side, it was pitch black outside by the time I got done. But I also wanted to show you the lights. You know what you think of this project. If it's something that you're going to try on your own, it would also be a great way to hide your trash cans. And next week, we're going to go through the receipts and see if we actually saved any money by DIYing this project. I have yet to add up how much I spent on this. So in the next video, we will go over everything and see if this saved any money in the long run. I can't wait to share that with you guys. And remember to go the second mile today for someone in your life and with your resources. And that's a great reminder that you can save money on this project if you have any of these items already. So take a look around your shop or garage and see what you've got to work with. And maybe you can create a DIY privacy screen on a budget by going the second mile.